are so fortunate to have so many people deeply committed to this work. Not only my colleagues on the committee, but Stephanie Rosen, the Executive Director of NAMI Montgomery County, our great state's attorney, John McCarthy, Judge Gary Baer with the County Circuit Court, Dr. Raymond Crow, who heads our Behavioral Health and Crisis Services Division in our Department of Health and Human Services. We are here because really 20% of our population experiences serious mental illness at some point in time in their lives, adults and our children. It is something so prevalent, and it has had a stigma for so long, that our purpose today is to call attention to it and to say that what's most important is to have it treated, and for those of us who are in community with our dear friends, to be compassionate and not judgmental. For so long, it has had a terrible stigma. It cannot be. And so we're here really to say thank you to the people who work so hard. Thank you to those who work so hard to establish a mental health court. Because now, instead of people just going to jail because they're not functioning well, we're going to make sure that they are treated for the issues that really are fundamental.
I think that we've waited too long, actually, here in Montgomery County to establish the mental health courts, and that's really the aspect of what I want to talk about. I will tell you, the council members that are standing behind me, I think every one of them came to me at some point in time when we were talking about establishing mental health courts, and I think every council member, and I know Sid actually sat on the committee, the task force, said, how can we make this happen? Every one of you came to me, and I really thank you for your support. It was always been there. And they've actually come up with the money, too, to make that we can actually make sure we can do that. That's really the most important support. But, you know, it's interesting. I knew that we had this need in the community. A former terrific county councilman, Phil Andrews, I hired 2 years ago. It's probably the best hire I've had in a long time. And I hired Phil, and I tasked Phil with bringing together a coalition of public and private providers to try to make sure that we could get established, and we now are well on our way. We've gotten funding, and we're going to have both a mental health court in both the district and the circuit courts here in Montgomery County, and I'm so thankful for that. Look, the mental health issue, and Roger talked about this, the mental health issue is just enormous in this community. 2 years ago, 2,100 people arrived at your county jail, and upon reception were diagnosed with mental health issues that needed treatment. By the way, we have 42 beds in the jail. Now, you tell me how 2,100 people fit into 42 beds. There's a crisis in America. We're not isolated. I will tell you, if you go to Cook County and outside of Chicago, you go to Rikers Island outside of New York, and you ask the wardens that run those jails, what percentage of the people have mental health issues in your hospitals, actually your hospitals, in your jail, they're going to say about a third. That's kind of the national number. There are some, President Obama's committee on looking at policing in the 21st century says that they estimate in some cities that 50% of all police contacts are with individuals who have mental health challenges. 50%. It's an enormous issue. In this county, 6,000 crisis calls were made to people in their homes who needed immediate help from the crisis intervention team. So this is, look, it's a time that has come. I want to thank all of the people, that the public-private providers who came together on the task force. I'm so proud of the people on my staff. I see Kathy Knight, who's here, and another girl, Katie, who is one of my other prosecutors, who's working with the mental health courts in the district court, Sherry Koch, Vlatka Tomarzik, Laura Chase, and Phil, who I mentioned earlier. All of these people are giving their own time privately to make this happen. This is a very important step for us, and I want to thank everyone coming together to helping us do this. This is a very important step for us here in Montgomery County.
On behalf of the National Alliance on Mental Illness of Montgomery County, I want to thank the County Council for their commitment to bringing awareness as well as programs to help all of our community maintain their mental health. I also really want to thank the State's Attorney's Office for their commitment and for bringing the mental health court to Montgomery County. This is one of many needed services. You've heard several statistics already about how prevalent this is. NAMI strives to bring not only wellness, but hope, and to promote recovery and access to treatment. So thank you all for your commitment to our community's mental health.
Whereas 1 in 5 adults in the United States, 43.8 million, experiences mental illness in a given year, and 1 in 5 youth ages 13 to 18 experiences a severe mental disorder at some point during their life. And whereas since 1990, mental health advocates across the country have joined together in early October to recognize Mental Illness Awareness Week, which takes place this year from October 2nd to the 8th. And whereas the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicated to improving the lives of persons living with serious mental illness. And whereas NAMI Montgomery County volunteers provide mental health resources to families and consumers struggling with not only the effects of mental illness, but the stigma as well. And whereas NAMI Montgomery County advocates for non-discriminatory local, state, and federal policies based on the recommendations of the NAMI Maryland Public Policy Committee and the NAMI MC Advocacy Committee, and has been active in the fight for federal insurance parity. And whereas recognizing the importance of Mental Illness Awareness Week, the Montgomery County Council applauds NAMI MC's leadership in working locally to educate our community, as well as to advocate for improvements to the quality of life for individuals impacted by mental illness. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland, hereby proclaims October 2nd to the 8th, 2016 as Mental Illness Awareness Week in Montgomery County, presented on this 4th day of October in the year 2016, and signed by our Council President, Nancy Florine.